So what do we have over here next? Now that we're back to what is saved from the original Mayan Refresh. The crafter. What are we dealing with here? Ah, yes, yes. He's got a little stand and everything here. Um, that's an interesting divot. Interesting. Not bad. No bed? Huh, no bed. Oh, look at that. Little cramped, but the weather's not bad, so you don't really need a good house. Yeah. Huh. And then it immediately updates to painted stucco? Well, he is the crafter, so I think that was what my train of thought was. And he gets a bed, okay? And he immediately also gets the thatch floor. That's interesting that I immediately do that. Hmm. Well, he is the crafter, so that makes sense. I could put in an upgrade between the two that is less upgraded, but there's no real point in that other than making it harder for the player. Let me check on. Yep, look at that. Okay. Yeah, because I only had one row of chests on this one. Yeah. Like that roof. Real nice roof. And again, this is supposed to be steep stairs where 2 blocks make an incline, a too high incline, but that's a placeholder for now. Ignore that. Oh, I stick with the dirt there? But then I have the table being you. Huh. You know, instead of that, let's swap out the selling table area with stone here, and then stucco here, and then that there. Yeah. How about the? Oh, what's up with the roof? Hmm. Because I can't walk in with that bed in the way, so I might as well do that. Plus, a little bit of a breeze is nice. There we are. And that is not good like that. We got one more, so let's leave this as jungle slab for here, but we do have an additional one for the shelf. Nice design. And then we switch over to the full frill right there. Yeah, yeah. And then let's swap these for stone. Yeah. 3 furnaces? 3 furnaces. 3. Okay. Well, he is the crafter. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Now, if only that snow wasn't in the way. Whatever. What do we got here? Pumpkins? Huh. Grove. Why does the grove look like this? This appears to just be a redo of the corn farm. That's fine. We don't have smooth stone being used, but we might as well. That'll make it a little bit different. Also, I have mentioned that in between porting it over... Oh, it was 2 Endermen. I was like, what is that? In between porting it over, these got mixed in. Just remove those. Now, when I do the Mayan refresh, I will figure out how to include mangroves. So that's going to need its own new grove. We'll have to figure that out. And when I do the Inuit refresh, due to complaints that are perfectly reasonable, I'm going to completely remove the groves from the Inuits entirely. Just full on remove the groves and remove the lumbermen. Because that's not how they gathered wood. And that is a very legitimate complaint. It's not how they gathered wood. So like with the corn farm, let's just remove the cobblestone level. No cobblestone level. What are you? I'm not familiar with that. That's surely interesting. Why would they add that? But it goes straight to... You know what? Let's actually go ahead. Let's bring that back. Well, that didn't work. Mayan Grove? That's not right. Oh! Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so this is the grove that was from the Mayan Refresh, and this was the one, the original one. I see, I see. That's fine. So what I'm going to do here is jungle wood. Yes. That'll be interesting. Oh, but we start with... Is that what I think that is? I need to swap that out. Let's not do the corners for these. Yeah, that's fine. How to implement jungle wood. Well, that's not right. Oh, it is right. I think I will keep the dirt layer. Interesting. Because this is for the grove, where they're going to be growing the trees. Oh, are they going to chop this down? They're not going to chop this down. No, no, no. No, that should be fine. Knock on wood. Yeah, why am I doing stone for the grove? That seems boring. Should be wood. And what else do I have that is wood? But thatch. So I'm going to do fancy thatch next. Oh. Now, if the exporting was working, I would just export it and then build off of that. But since it's not working for some reason, I'll just deal with it. And speaking of deal with it, I just noticed that I had these guys here. Let's remove those. Might need to remove some of those torches. I will consider that for the final level. Whether or not I need to remove them, that is. Okay. No, I think I can keep the torches. In the previous building you worked on, the first one with thatch, I think, there were some tiles on the floor that did not have a blue border. Previous building. This one over here? So right here, it has the blue border. Oh, you weren't here when I explained the blue border. So the blue border is called preserve ground marker. That means when this building is built, it will take whatever is on the ground. Grass, stone, coal, or no, not this one. The one before I just finished. So here? Are you sure it wasn't the crafter? Because the crafter right here is what I just finished. So this row are crafters. This row are groves. Um, that's tree farms. And this row is the tree farm that I'm currently working on. The third grove. You mean this? You mean like how this one is dirt instead of preserved ground? So to answer your question, no, that wasn't intentional, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The preserved ground block just pulls up the ground from beneath it. So if it is building on top of a field of grass, it uses grass for that. If it is building on the top of a field of stone, it uses stone for that. If it is building on a field of diamond ore, it uses diamond ore for that block. I've seen it happen with coal ore, but not with diamond ore. I've never come across that actually naturally occurring. But it just pulls up the one from beneath it, and it doesn't really matter. It's going to be dirt, so it having dirt right there is fine, but I swapped it out. Good eye, good eye. Like how this right here is dirt. Yeah, yeah. But as I said, yes, good eye. A nice fancy looking tree farm. Oh, I can't do that because that is like that. But that's fine. No worries. Yeah, good eye. I think that looks better like that. Yeah, I don't know why my grove looked like that, but I was planning on making mangrove farm, which is why I had this second row of groves here, was so that I could make it from mangroves. But Mangroves are for the refresh. We're only dealing with the refresh today. Refresh another time. And the torches have to be exactly right because it's wasteful if it isn't. Although I don't quite need that many for back here. So let's pop off. No, we've got that appearing there, so let's remove these ones. And then we add the rest of the torches, and then we add the accoutrements. This looks like it has the potential to be better than mine colonies. Dunk! You blaspheme! Don't you blaspheme in this house. Mine colonies wishes it was Millenaire. We came first. Blaspheming over here. Actually, I might just fucking kill this grove right here. Just fully remove that and only do this design. Because this is a much better grove design. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I like how that turned out. So next we've got the guard house. This is just a house for the guard. He sleeps here. He gets 3 beds, apparently. Nice. Yeah, he starts off with 3 beds. These are thatch beds. Straw beds. They should be called thatch. Initially, they were going to be straw, and they were named straw, but yeah, there's that. Looks like I am using jungle stairs instead of thatch for the roof, probably because it's the guardhouse and it needs to be stronger. It starts off like this. So the guardhouse is one of the secondary buildings. Like the grove, the altar, probably the corn farm. Those initially spawn in with the village. But the guardhouse has to be added on later. Oh man, I remember this one was super annoying because I gave it this frill. So I had to make the initial building one size bigger so that it would fit in the frill. Yeah, I had a problem with that. I really like how this arch turned out, though. That is an interesting arch design. Real nice there. Not seeing any issues. What is this? Oh, sleeping position. So, I mentioned earlier, Dunk, that that will not be visible. It's just indicating that that is where they go to sleep, and there's a bed there, so they'll find the bed. Ginny, however, says, while I do like the buildings of mine colonies, I feel like there's too much material grind, too hard to please the villagers, and raids absolutely wipe out your colony. Fun thing about Millenaire is that I recently, well, I say recently, I guess it was 8 years ago, villagers will not stay dead. They will respawn after a day. And villagers gather materials on their own. Let me go further a bit to the M's. Well, that's not good. Oh, yeah, I see. I noticed that happening. See, here is the mines. Villagers will have their own mines, and the miners will go here. What is this? They'll gather stone there. They'll gather andesite there. They'll gather sand and clay. What? Here we are, diorite. They'll gather diorite here. Villagers will go down here and mine. Just by standing there with a pickaxe, they will produce their own materials. So, The material grind is not necessary. You can certainly do the material grind to help them out. They'll definitely appreciate a little help, but a lot of the villages will be able to build on their own without player interaction, which is good because villages will spawn en masse. You just start exploring around, and things will spawn in. Um, I want to say this is a village over here. Yeah, while I was setting up this map, this is a Byzantine village, spawned in, and oh my god, super annoying that they spawned in. I'm gonna steal your bed. This bed is occupied. Wake up. That's new. You could steal their bed previously. I guess I haven't tried in a while. They use fences. I think you can resurrect villagers in mine colonies, but it's such a pain in the ass. I never had an issue with raids because I would get max tools and weapons before starting my colony. Eh, eh. You can also give tools and weapons to the villagers, and I recommend it. Where were we? House. That's just a generic house. Ah, here we are, the guard house. Well, I've got some cats being bad. Stop that. Stop that. They're both male cats, so I thought there wouldn't be an issue of that. But apparently, no, male cats do that quite a lot to anything that moves. Mm, mm. I'm told I should get them neutered, but they don't go outside, so I don't really see a need for that. Other than stopping them from doing that. Anyways, as I was saying, it's super easy to please villagers. You just go mining for some iron. They'll love it if you give them iron. They'll love it if you give them stone. They'll love it if you give them wood. They'll love it if you give them painted stucco blocks. Neutering helps with behavioral issues. Yeah, that's definitely what I've been told. But you know, as a guy, I'm kind of against neutering. A little concerned with the concept, you know. But um, a refresh since Dunk is here. This is thatch flooring, where it's basically a carpet. It's like a carpet block, and it's thatch, and it in the completed version it will be full. It'll be a full thatch thing except for the pixel around the edges. It'll be connected textures, but the end pixels will be showing the floor. I like that, where it shows the bit of the floor at the ends. That's what I like. Prevents testicular and prostate cancer. I've never heard of a cat getting that, but I don't see why a cat wouldn't be able to. That's a good point. That's a good point. The flooring, not the cancer. Um, the more expensive houses get this as a connected texture for the flooring. But that's for the more expensive houses. A simple guard can be fine with a thatch flooring. I really like what I did with the roof arch. That is nice. That is a nice arch. Hmm. Yep, I'm not seeing any issues with the guardhouse. This is just where the guard sleeps. You wouldn't think cats get diabetes. No, no, I have worked in cat shelters. So I'm quite familiar with diabetic cats. Those are en masse there for some reason. Like people, cats get diabetes and they just drop them off at a shelter, I guess. I don't know what's the deal with that. Oh, look at that. So it looks like I keep the blocks from here, and then it goes on to there. Should I? Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I like that. So no issues with the guardhouse. That's good. What do we got here? Generic house. A lot of the villagers will need housing. And based on that, each village type will spawn certain houses. This one is generic house. Long-term medications for animals not always financially feasible. That's fair. That's 100% fair. Mm. So I did a nice little awning here, it looks like. I like what I did with this awning. The awning turns into a house frill, because of course it does. And it looks like when I ported it over, it kept this because of that, I'm guessing. I might have to include a specific do not include this. I'll have to look into that. Those people who don't want to deal with more than just feeding and litter changes. You know, feeding and litter changes is is a lot for some people. Like you got some people who won't even do litter changes. It is crazy. Oh, I mentioned earlier that I said no cobblestone in the buildings. Miner Mia's original Mayan design was nothing but cobblestone. I said no cobblestones, no cobblestones. But this is one of the ones where I said sure, cobblestones. This is a cobblestone fencing I did. Yes. It turns into that for some reason. That's interesting. Yes. And we've got these. Yeah, get rid of that. I like this awning. I like this enclave. Look at this. What was I thinking when I made this? Jeez. Pat myself on the back much, apparently? Okay, what is the door? Shelter position. Ah, I forgot about that. When a war happens, sometimes cobble works. That's true. When a war happens, this is where they go to shelter. A vase? Why did I give them a flower pot? I think I remember doing that too, but I don't remember why. Huh. And I put it on a preserved ground block. That's interesting. That is interesting. Why did I do that? Hmm. No issues here, no issues there. What is this? Pathing? Yep, it's pathing. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, except for okay, yep. Except for this. Forgot to update that. Give them something pretty to look at while all hell is breaking loose. So, Dunk, you also missed that I said that Millenaire has dirt wall blocks because some buildings just needed dirt walls. They just needed dirt walls. But Minecraft 121 has dirt wall blocks right here, packed mud. It's basically the same thing, and there's no point in using a special modded block if the vanilla version exists. I was planning on updating to a ton of new 121 blocks, including tough blocks, because the special decorated tough blocks look great. But I'm very sick, and I had already spent a lot of time with this initial design, so might as well push out this version and then update it again shortly. I say shortly, but I have to work on the Japanese roof tiles. They're getting a special 3D model. Because look at this. This is the Japanese roof tiles. That is not at all what they are supposed to look like. Oh, geez. Historically, I mean. It's not historically accurate. It's just a cube with weird pattern on it. Throw that away. So yeah, I'm working on making a 3D model of it because yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. And also I did do some Ghana masks, but I don't think they're getting used. I don't know why the Ghana masks aren't being used. I did a 3D model for that. I'd like to do a 3D model for all of the sculptures. Kind of looks like a basket weave, almost looks like a failed chain link fence. So you're going to want to Google Japanese roof tiles, and you'll see that it is extremely different. I didn't know that it was supposed to be that until someone had complained about it, and I was like, oh, geez, it is very wrong. Yeah, you're going to want to Google what it's supposed to look like. Mm, mm. And it's pretty difficult to get it what it's supposed to look like, but it's at least better than that cube. After Googling, I can see what they were going for. Exactly. Yes, I've said that same thing. If you compare it, if you compare it to it, you're like, yeah, maybe. But there is a limit to what you can do when it comes to Minecraft cubes. They got the colors right. Wow. There's a limit to what you can do when it comes to Minecraft cubes, but still, though. Still. Come on. Okay. So we also did cobblestone flooring here. That's interesting. And we've got ourselves some beds. Did we have beds before? Did we have beds before? We did. Okay. Cobblestone flooring is fine, I guess. And the vase is still there. Got some loose flowers here for some reason. I'm gonna need to write that down. Vase. Wait. Oh, they start with the vase, so they get that for free. Generic house. Generic house. Is a generic house a starting building? I don't think it is. I'm writing that down because they need to have a way to produce vases. Vases? Vases. Vases. In order for them to need a vase in a building, they need a way to produce it. So I wrote that down to look into later. Got a weird striping pattern going on here. Oh, and it turns into, oh, that is nice. I like that. Then we've got this going on. And the flooring changes. This is a nice house. I feel like if you're getting a 3D model tile set, you need to get the ridges and the corner protrusions. The corner protrusions are what is slowing me down. Like, oh my god, the corner protrusions. I hate those corner protrusions. But I'm pretty close to being done with it. So it looks like we end with a nice little frill at the top and real beds. Okay, okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't hate that. We do end with a weird stripage pattern here. And no, I don't hate it though. Why don't I do one of those? Yeah, that way the stone is less visible. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's not bad. Generic house number 1. What is this over here? Generic house number 2? It is indeed. I go for a completely different design here. I think this one was also based off of one of Mia's original Mayan build. We got a bunch of chests up here. That's interesting. Weird storage. And look at that. Yeah, I don't know what happened, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it when it was happening. But when I was exporting a lot of the jungle wood slabs that were on the second on the along with a lot of the upper jungle wood slabs, not the bottom ones down here, but the upper ones up there, just wouldn't export right. I don't know what was going on with that, but that's fine. That's fine. That is why I am doing a once over. Look at that build. So other than the fun thing about the Mayans is they loved making their own mountains. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Um, if something wasn't a mountain, they wanted a mountain to be there. So that's why this house is on a little hill. Because of that, that was how they enjoyed construction. Housing was better when it was on a mountain. Probably to get a better view of the sky. Yeah, yeah, probably. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. Why does it look like that? Why is it dirt instead of the usual? Okay, it's probably dirt instead of the usual junglewood slabs because of this right here. I had no way of making that junglewood slabs. But I could. Here's another shelter position. That's nice. I could just make that be like that. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, that looks better. More spacious. Yeah, yeah. More spacious. That is an interesting start. No thatch. Okay, that's fine. Because then it goes to the steep stairs. Yeah, Dunk, you missed this, but the steep stairs, they go up two with only one square forward, and I have to add that later. That's not available right now, but that's fine. That's fine. I like that frill, but this only exists because it failed in the porting over. Yep, yep, that's supposed to be like that. That's supposed to be like that. You know what? In order to combat that, I'll throw on some torches. Not sure how that'll combat it, but might as well try something. And these, however, are smooth slabs. Top ones? Yep, yep. Or bottom ones, rather? Yep, 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 yep. So that gets rid of the torches. That's fine. That's fine. Getting rid of the torches is fine. Plus, I just don't want mobs spawning on top of here, and with that being a half slab, they won't be. Do we got any half slabs here? I could throw on... Oh, nope, that is half slab. I could throw on... No, no, that messes with the inside. Don't want to do that. Speaking of the inside, how's it looking here? What do we got? One more after this. So let's make this upgrade to... Yeah, it's more spacious that way. No problems with the building. Building looks fine. Interesting design. Which I turned to smooth stone? Huh. That's interesting. When I do the Mayan refresh, I'm definitely getting rid of all of the smooth stone. Interesting. Why would I do that? I want to swap that out with polished andesite. Smooth stone. What the heck was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. Polished andesite, they do not have that much collection goals for polished andesite. So it would be annoying for a lot of polished andesite to be needed. And for a single generic house, I don't want to have to deal with that. But the final form of the generic house has the nice thatch flooring. Yes, yes. Has the nice stucco blocks. Gorgeous. Yeah. Now this one, oh, what is going on with this and diorite? Whew, I went crazy with the diorite on here. When I swap over to tough blocks, I'm probably going to choose andesite or diorite and drop one of those, and drop one of the other ones of those rather. And now, just right now, I'm using both andesite and diorite for it. Oh, we've got a nice little awning here again. Real nice awning. We've got a shelter position right here, and nothing inside. What is this? This is the third house. The third generic house design. No bed in here either. I guess they start with no bed. That's fair. Sleep on the floor. The floor's made of dirt anyways. Not bad, not bad. We've got the storage on the outside for some reason. And why is the signpost all the way over there? I see no reason for the signpost to be all the way over there. Yeah, no reason. Right here's fine. Closer to the entrance signpost it makes it easier to understand what the building is. I see why I went with the diorite en masse here. It's because this is villages will have set buildings. One of those set buildings is plain house. And that plain house has the chance to be that plain house, this plain house, or this plain house. There is a 33% chance, yeah, because the next one is an inn. There is a 33% chance that it'll be that one, 33 it'll be this one, 33 it'll be this one when it requests a generic house. Some villages have more than one generic house. Some village types will have more than one generic house designs. Some will not. And it'll be unlikely for this much diorite to be frequently needed, but on the off chance that it does get used, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And I do like the design. No issues with the design. Do we have any ceiling chests? No ceiling chests yet. We've got beds, 3 beds again. No ceiling chests. We've got some nice thatch flooring now. 3 beds, no ceiling chests. No ceiling chests. Okay. And right here is a placeholder I feel like if you're getting a 3D model tile set, you're going to need the ridges. Oh, I already read that. I already read that. Right here is where a placeholder for the Mayan calendar. To see the Mayan calendar, you'll have to look at one of my older videos because I don't have that in the texture pack right now. I considered putting it in there, but it was just too much of a. I can't. It's too much of a difficult thing to put a 3D model in a texture pack. You got to do the directions, north, south, east, west, and I couldn't be bothered. This nether brick is fine for now. Also, I noticed there's some random jungle wood. You recall when I have random jungle wood, I put beehives on top of it. Don't know why the beehives weren't showing there, but I'm pretty sure that that's supposed to be a beehive. The bee collector, the honey collector, is probably going to be all of the generic wives. I don't remember if I have generic husband as a villager for the Mayans. But yes, the generic wives will have the task to gather the honey. Where is my... Yep, I have... I don't know if you guys have tried the new Dirty Mountain Dew, but it is god awful. Oh, oh, it's like they saw Pilk was popular and was like, let's make Mountain Dew, or rather, Pound Mountain Dilk, because it tastes like regular Mountain Dew mixed with milk. It says it's cream soda Mountain Dew. Ugh, ugh, not good. So it isn't until the last tier that they get the calendar. That's fine. That's fine. I like what I did here. That's interesting. I haven't done that one before. But there's no fin. There's no fin on top of the roof. Huh. Well, I guess I didn't do that. That's weird. But that is for the third house. Really? If I sleep, the snow will stop. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Can't believe I set this up here. But, as I've said a couple times, the snow will not show when I'm exporting the building designs. Will not show, mainly because when one of the larger buildings was being designed, the author, Kennekin, accidentally did it partially in a snowy area, and he turned off the ability to, unless you specify, he turned off the ability for snow to show. So yeah, that was fun. That was fun for my Inuits, actually, because I wanted snow to show on those. Oh, grumble, grumble. Anyways, next building, we're done with the generic basic houses. We do have a few generic larger houses. I think there's a generic large house and then a single generic very large house. The single generic very large house is an apartment complex. I am really proud of that one. Real good how that one turned out.